at best, that is the highest I can claim on this woman. That's the highest status I can claim, a relationship status I can claim with this woman, is I'm fucking somebody else's woman.
I'm the language here.
That's the best.
Our children. But when it comes time to discipline them or to enforce boundaries, most guys often find that they're her children at that time. And that's not a great deal for guys because you're basically used like an ATM.
I know what kind of finances are involved in the situation, and I can afford to buy stuff for my own kid, right? I know it's expensive, but most likely I have higher income than the men very often in many situations. So I don't find it part.
What's your relationship status? Well, me, I am.
But when it comes time to discipline them or to enforce boundaries, most guys.
Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So today is slightly different. I decided to do a reaction video as a future single mom to a video why not date a single mom. Hope you will enjoy it. Okay, let's crack on.
And that's what the consistency is when it comes to cuckoldry is, yeah, it is important, but it's so important to men as fathers that they know that their name is passed on, right? They know that their name carries meaning and that name with its DNA is passed on. And when you get involved with a single mom and you start...
Okay, I will stop here because, I mean, I agree. I think it's generally important for people and yeah, genetically. For women, it's easier because we give birth. It's very difficult to not know that it's our kid. It's pretty straightforward for women, right? And it goes the biology that we have natural instinct that develops also during pregnancy, and it's just easier to bond for us. Meanwhile, for men, well, there is, unless they do genetic tests, there is no certainty, first of all, that it's their offspring. And second of all, they do not give birth, so I don't think it's that easy to bond for them. And they don't have the instinct, maternal instinct, that it's easy for them to bond with children generally. So I can understand that the purpose for men on this earth is to spread the seed, let's put it this way. So I understand that, yeah, the man wants to have kids with his biological inheritance, which makes sense. Okay, fair enough.
To raise her kids, you're basically raising another man's children.
Okay, finishing the subject. Yes, I agree, you're raising another man's children, but first of all, what's wrong with that? Second of all, you still can have children, more children with this woman. So I don't see issue. If you're starting dating a single woman without having any kids, you're not raising any kids, but you still have possibility of having kids with her, right? It's the same with single mom. You still have possibility of having kids with her. So I really don't understand this point. Okay, next one.
But men don't want to date single mothers. Now this is my my theory on it, and I think a lot of guys will relate to this, understand this. Now if you're a man, a single man, and you're out there trying to meet a woman, and a woman tells you she's engaged, or she's married, or she has a boyfriend, a committed relationship, and she says, but she's looking for a little something on the side. Again, 99% of guys are going to run in the other direction. Some guys might be thirsty betas, and they'll take any piece of a woman they can get, so they'll go along with it. But most guys would say, you know what, this is a waste of my time. I'm not even going to bother with it. They go the other way. Why? Because a man that has respect for himself, man that's not a thirsty beta, a simp at the very bottom of the totem pole, a man that has some status, some confidence, some respect for himself, is going to say, if I get with this chick, at best, I am fucking somebody else's girl. Somebody else.
Sorry, I couldn't finish. There's a few things to say about it. First of all, it's not only respect toward yourself, and it's not only for men. Generally, if I know that the guy, it's quite common, to be honest, for women, that there is a married man and he's hitting on single girls, which I find disgusting. So in this situation, women usually also would have self-respect, but not only self-respect, it's also respect for another woman, and the know that if he's doing that to his wife, he would do that to her one day, if it would develop. Otherwise, he would just use her and then go further. Anyways, I find this argument a bit funny because it's pretty straightforward, but what does it have to single moms? Okay, let's see.
Somebody else's wife. At best, that is the highest I can claim on this woman. That's the highest status I can claim, a relationship status I can claim with this woman, is I'm fucking somebody else's woman.
I mean, the language here.
That's the best. Some guys will do it, most guys will run the other way. Now, what is a bigger bond? Buying a ring, signing a contract, and having a ceremony. You know, a man and a woman saying, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. Or a man and a woman actually serving their reproductive purpose as human beings with one another and having children. I think we all know the answer to that. So when a man gets with a woman who is, or who has already had children with another man, at best, you can marry her, you can be in a committed relationship, you know, whatever. But at best, you are hooking up with somebody else's baby's mother. That's it.
I mean, okay, here. So, being single man by choice, there is no liability for me, right? So, talking about a woman who is a single mom by choice, by, for example, a donor, as a subject, because this is how I understand this, as a subject, because the man is hooking up with someone else's ex or whatever, or like a mom or mother of someone else's children. This is very subjectifying. Very. First of all, the woman has personality, the woman has certain ambitions, certain attributes that are specific particularly to her. So talking about someone as as a mom of someone else's children, I think for me is insulting. Okay, let's go further.
You know, what's a worse title? If you're talking about morals here, if you're talking about having self-respect, what is worse? Saying, you know, what's your relationship status? Well, me, I am fucking somebody's wife. That's my relationship. That's like, what? It's like that you're bragging about that? Like, you know, no guy wants to be labeled as that. But it's even worse if you think about it to say, what's your relationship status? You know, right now I am hooking up with somebody else's baby's mother. And I'm taking care of somebody else's kids. That's my status in life.
Hooking up is very subjectifying. You're not making love, for example. You're not sleeping with someone. You're hooking up. Not meaningful. Second of all, downgrading. And third of all, not even permanent, it's just temporary situation, like one night stand or whatever. You're a guy who's hooking up, which, as you look at Jordan Peterson, what he says about short-term relationship or one night stand, he says that it's mainly for narcissists and psychopaths, and I agree, because it's very disrespectful towards the other person, and it doesn't take into consideration feelings of the other person involved. So if you're hooking up, why would you care about the status you can claim from the other person? Is it just a bragging thing? Is it just an ego thing?
All right, let's hit on number 2. So the second problem with getting involved on a long-term basis with single moms, fellas, is you've got 100% responsibility with 0% authority. What I mean by that is when the children, her children specifically, need something, resources, your time to fix something, cars broken, tuition's due for college or university or something like that, they're our children. But when it comes time to discipline them or to enforce boundaries, most guys often find that they're her children at that time. And that's not a great deal for guys because you're basically used like an ATM.
Okay, about this one, I get the point, and I think it's unfair, but I called it toxic relationships because I don't think it's a healthy situation for neither of the sides. Because in this situation, I feel like woman is using the man, and I don't think it's the norm. It's more of an exception. And if I would be the guy, I would think and wonder myself why I'm going into this kind of situations. So this is first of all. Now, in the context of single motherhood, so for example, I'm a single mother by choice, right? So I know what kind of finances are involved in the situation, and I can afford to buy stuff for my own kids, right? I know it's expensive, but most likely I have higher income than the men very often in many situations. So I don't find it particularly applicable to me. Now, in terms of decision making, in a good relationship, when you're already creating something serious and meaningful, I think, yeah, that's a bit weird that the woman doesn't allow to make decision. It's a bit complicated situation, but if we're going towards marriage and long-term relationship, I think woman, personally, as a single mom by choice, I would like the man actually have a say. That's keeping in mind that we are compatible, right? So in terms of compatibility, so we don't have big differences in our view on life. Because if we disagree in many little things or even bigger things, that means we're just not compatible for a relationship. So I think it's a good test, to be honest. Bear in mind, so what I found, many men who comment on single mothers, I think don't take into consideration that it's just step forward. I know it's difficult because you start from like a already more mature situation when there are kids involved, but many marriages after honeymoon, after being engaged, even if the children are theirs after marriage and so on, they wake up one day and they realize they are not fit for each other and they are not compatible because having kids actually showed it to them. So I feel like it's a very unfair comparison. I would just take it what he's saying as an example that basically they are just not meant to be together.